Emma, say yes. I forbid this. Will you marry me?
Oh my gosh!
Billionaire CEO's son fell in love with a poor maid. What happened next shocked the world. Will their love survive the pressure of family, society, and scandal? Watch till the very end to witness a climax you'll never forget. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more unbelievable stories that will leave you speechless. The evening in Manhattan was painted in hues of gold and crimson, the sun dipping behind towering skyscrapers. The Blackwood mansion, perched elegantly atop a quiet street, glowed under soft garden lights. The lush garden, lined with fountains and carefully trimmed hedges, was set for an intimate family evening. But tonight, the air was charged with tension, anticipation, and a secret that could shake the entire Blackwood legacy. Alexander Alex Blackwood, the 25-year-old heir to the empire, stood near the grand fountain, his tailored navy blue suit immaculate. He had always carried himself with confidence and poise, but tonight, his usually calm demeanor betrayed a flicker of nervousness. In front of him stood Emma Carter, the young maid who had become so much more than just a servant in the mansion. Her brown eyes, wide with surprise and uncertainty, met his gaze. She wore her simple work attire, plain beige blouse and dark skirt, but tonight she seemed almost ethereal under the soft garden lights. Alex cleared his throat, taking a deep breath. The mansion staff, who were secretly watching from a distance, whispered among themselves, astonished that the billionaire's son was about to make such a scandalous move. Even Sophia Blackwood, Alex's mother, stood discreetly behind the marble columns, her delicate hands pressed to her lips in shock. And Richard Blackwood, the formidable CEO, had just arrived from his office, his dark eyes narrowing as he took in the scene before him. "Emma," Alex began, his voice steady but carrying an undeniable intensity. "From the moment I met you, I've seen something in you that no amount of wealth or status could ever replace. Your courage, your honesty, the way you face this world with strength despite all odds, it has changed me. I don't care about what society says. I don't care about what my family expects. I love you, Emma. Will you marry me?" The words hung in the air like a storm cloud over Manhattan. Emma's hands trembled, her heart pounding so loudly she thought the entire garden must hear it. She opened her mouth, then closed it, stunned by the audacity and honesty of Alex's confession. Her mind raced. How could someone like him love someone like her? She had always been aware of the invisible walls that separated them. The glittering parties she would never attend. The luxurious cars she could never touch. And now, the entire world watching this impossible proposal. Richard Blackwood's face darkened, his jaw tightening. He strode forward, his imposing presence demanding silence. "Alexander," he said, his voice low and dangerous, "what exactly do you think you're doing?" His eyes flicked toward Emma, then back to his son, simmering with disbelief. "You can't just propose to the maid of the household. This is our family, our legacy. How can you expect me to accept this?" Alex didn't flinch. "Father," he said, his voice firm, "I am not asking for your permission. I am telling you the truth. I love her. I have loved her from the moment I saw her strength, her honesty, and her heart. I can't imagine my life without her." His eyes were unwavering, filled with raw emotion, a mix of defiance and sincerity that made even Sophia hesitate. Emma's eyes glistened with unshed tears. She felt 1,000 conflicting emotions at once: fear, joy, disbelief, and a tiny spark of hope. She knew the world would judge her, that the media would have a field day with this scandal, and that the mansion staff would gossip for weeks. Yet, seeing the depth in Alex's eyes, the intensity of his emotions, she couldn't deny the truth forming in her own heart. Could she risk everything for love? The garden fell into tense silence. The fountains gurgled softly, the wind rustled the leaves, and somewhere in the distance, the city buzzed on, oblivious to the storm brewing in the mansion. Alex stepped closer, taking her hands in his touch both gentle and insistent. "Emma," he whispered, "I know this isn't easy. I know it's unexpected. But I swear, I'll face anything for you, even if it's my own father's wrath." Sophia Blackwood, elegant yet visibly torn, stepped forward. "Alex, this is unprecedented. Emma, are you ready for such a life?" Her voice was soft, almost pleading, but the concern was evident in her eyes. Emma swallowed hard. I don't know," she admitted, her voice trembling. "I've never imagined someone like you, someone from your world, loving me. She paused, trying to steady herself. "I need a moment." Richard's expression darkened further, his hand curling into a fist. "A moment? Alexander, this is not a game. This is serious. Our family reputation." "Father, I know what I'm doing," Alex interrupted, his voice cutting through the tension. "I won't apologize for following my heart. Emma has shown me a world beyond money and power. She's shown me honesty, courage, and love. If that makes her unworthy by society's standards, then so be it. I'll face the world with her." Emma's breath caught in her throat. She looked at Alex, really looked at him, and saw not the billionaire heir, but the man who saw her for who she truly was. For the first time in her life, someone didn't care about her social status or her humble beginnings. Someone cared about her soul. The staff held their collective breath. Sophia's eyes softened, and even Richard's stern face betrayed a hint of doubt, a flicker of realization that perhaps there was more to Emma than he had considered. The city lights of Manhattan reflected in the fountains, casting a golden glow over the scene. It was a moment suspended in time, one that would decide the fate of two lives and shake the Blackwood legacy to its core. Emma finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper, but carrying the weight of her heart. "Alex, The words hung in the air, unfinished, leaving the tension unbearable. Would she accept? Would love triumph over tradition, wealth, and status? Or would this bold declaration spark a chain of events that neither of them could predict? The garden remained silent, save for the gentle trickle of the fountain water, yet the silence was thick with tension, almost suffocating. Emma stood frozen, her fingers intertwined nervously as Alex held her hands with unwavering certainty. The Manhattan skyline glimmered behind them, casting long shadows across the manicured garden, but the real storm was unfolding under the soft lights of the Blackwood mansion. "Emma?" Alex's voice was softer this time, less forceful, more pleading. "Please, just tell me how you feel. Even if it's no, I need to know." His eyes reflected hope, desperation, and a vulnerability he rarely showed in public. Emma's breath came in short gasps, and she glanced toward the mansion doors where Richard Blackwood stood, his imposing frame silhouetted against the marble archway. The CEO's face was an unreadable mask of anger, disbelief, and deep disappointment. His eyes burned with intensity as he took a step forward, his polished black shoes clicking against the stone path, each step resonating like a warning drumbeat. "Alexander," Richard's voice thundered across the garden. "This is absurd. How could you even think? How could you publicly humiliate your family by proposing to a servant? Do you have any idea what this will do to our reputation, to our business empire?" Alex squared his shoulders, meeting his father's glare with quiet defiance. "Father, I'm not humiliating anyone. I'm being honest. Emma is not just a servant, she's a remarkable woman. She's brave, intelligent, and kind. I love her, and I don't care what the world thinks. I care about her, and I care about our truth." Richard's jaw clenched, his knuckles whitening as he gripped the railing. "Truth? You call this truth? Our family has spent decades building an empire, Alexander. Our name is respected in boardrooms, by investors, and by the world. And now, you stand here proposing to a maid?" Emma's heart pounded in her chest. She had expected anger, maybe disbelief. But the raw intensity of the CEO's wrath almost made her step back. She wanted to explain, to say something to defend herself, but the words lodged painfully in her throat. She felt the weight of centuries of social hierarchy pressing down on her small shoulders. Alex noticed her hesitation and gently squeezed her hands. Emma, don't let this scare you. I know it's hard, but this is about us. Not them, not the mansion, not the money. Her eyes flicked back to Alex, searching for reassurance. But I'm not from this world, she whispered, her voice trembling. I don't know how to fit into it. I don't know how to be worthy of you. I could never. Her voice broke. She felt tears prickling the corners of her eyes. Sophia Blackwood, who had been silently observing from the side, stepped closer, her expression a mixture of concern and compassion. Emma, it's okay, she said softly. I understand your fears, but Alexander, he is not asking you to change. He sees you as you are. Emma blinked rapidly, trying to steady herself. She wanted to trust the elegance and kindness in Sophia's voice, yet the shadow of Richard's fury loomed large. She turned her gaze to him, hoping faintly that she might find even a hint of understanding. Instead, she saw only the steeliness of a man accustomed to control, a man whose approval seemed impossible to earn. Richard's voice cut through the quiet once more. Alexander, stop this foolishness. I will not allow you to make a mockery of this family. You have one chance to step back now. Think about your future, your responsibilities, the legacy you are supposed to uphold. Alex took a slow breath, his chest rising with determination. Father, I have thought about this every single day, and I will not step back. I will not deny my heart. Emma is the woman I want to spend my life with. I will face the consequences, whatever they may be. I love her, and that is not negotiable. Emma's eyes filled with tears, not just from fear, but from the sheer intensity of the moment. She saw a side of Alex she had never witnessed before, unyielding courage, unwavering conviction, and an honesty that transcended wealth, power, and expectation. Her heart began to waver, torn between the safety of silence and the wild, terrifying promise of love. A sudden rustle behind them drew everyone's attention. The mansion staff, who had been quietly observing from behind the bushes and hedges, exchanged nervous glances. Whispers of scandal and gossip seemed to ripple through the air like invisible currents. Somewhere in the distance, a car horn honked, the city of New York continuing its relentless pulse, oblivious to the emotional hurricane in the mansion garden. Sophia placed a comforting hand on Emma's shoulder. You have a choice, Emma, she said gently. Don't let fear dictate your heart. This is your moment too. Emma swallowed hard, her voice barely audible. I need time, Alex nodded, though his eyes never left hers. Take all the time you need, he said. I'll wait, no matter how long. Richard's face was thunderous. Time? Alexander, this is not a game. You're risking everything, our family, our name, our legacy. Alex met his father's gaze with quiet strength. I understand, Father, but love is worth more than legacy, worth more than money. And Emma, she is worth it. For a long moment, the garden was silent. The only sounds were the whispering wind, the gentle splashes of the fountain, and the beating of two hearts filled with courage, uncertainty, and hope. Emma's fingers trembled in Alex's hands, yet she did not pull away. There was something unspoken, something fragile but powerful, connecting them. And in that fragile moment, the first spark of change began to ripple through the Blackwood mansion. A spark that would challenge every expectation, defy every prejudice, and set the stage for a battle between love and tradition that neither Emma nor Alex could have anticipated. The lights of Manhattan glittered like a million tiny stars beyond the garden walls, reflecting the impossible choices ahead, the tensions unresolved, and the quiet promise that love, however dangerous, could change everything. The morning sun filtered through the towering windows of the Blackwood mansion, casting long golden streaks across the marble floors. Despite the serene elegance of Manhattan's most luxurious mansion, an invisible tension clung to the air. The events of the previous evening, the garden proposal that had shaken the Blackwood family, had set off a chain reaction that could not be contained. Word had spread faster than anyone could have imagined. The mansion staff, whispers ricocheting from the kitchen to the grand hallway, gossiped about the bold and scandalous act of the billionaire's son proposing to a maid. "Did you see him?" One maid whispered to another, her eyes wide with disbelief. "He actually proposed to Emma? The Emma who's been working here for years?" Emma moved quietly through the hallway, clutching a tray of breakfast pastries, her chest tight with nervousness. She could feel the stares, the hushed murmurs. Every servant, every housekeeper, every gardener seemed to know. The staff had always admired her quietly for her diligence and courage, but now their admiration mingled with disbelief and scandal. Some shook their heads, others giggled quietly. In the kitchen, two staff members exchanged a knowing glance. "Do you think he's serious?" one whispered. "I mean, Alexander Blackwood, the heir, and Emma? That's impossible." Emma's fingers trembled slightly as she placed the tray on the table. She felt the weight of the rumors pressing down on her. And yet, despite the whispers, despite the fear, a small spark of warmth bloomed in her chest. Alex had looked at her last night like she was the only person in the world who mattered. Meanwhile, in his private study, Alex reviewed some corporate emails, though his mind wasn't on business. His thoughts kept drifting back to Emma, her eyes, her courage, the way she had hesitated yet not entirely pulled away. He remembered the way her hand had trembled in his, the way her gaze had softened despite the fear. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Emma stepped in, holding a small folder with documents that needed his signature. Their eyes met, and for a moment, the world outside the mansion, the whispers, the social expectations, the media frenzy faded away. "Alex," Emma began softly, I don't know how to deal with all of this. The staff, everyone, even my friends are talking. I feel exposed." Alex stood and walked toward her, gently taking her hands in his once again. "Emma, I know it's overwhelming. I know it feels like the entire world is watching, but we have to focus on us. We can't let the rumors, the gossip, the fear control our hearts. Do you understand?" Emma nodded, though her lips trembled slightly. I understand. But what if your father, what if he never accepts me? What if this, all of this, ruins everything for you?" Alex shook his head, a determined smile breaking through his usual calm. "No, nothing can ruin this. I won't let anyone or anything come between us. You're not just a part of my life, Emma. You are my life. And I will prove to everyone, including my father, that love is stronger than legacy." As the morning wore on, the whispers outside the study grew louder. The mansion's security staff had overheard rumors spreading through Manhattan, and social media was buzzing with speculation. The phrase, "Billionaire heir proposes to Maid," had gone viral overnight. Alex's friends were calling, some teasing, some incredulous, asking if this was a prank. Emma, meanwhile, tried to carry on with her duties, but her mind kept wandering back to Alex. She realized that despite all the fear and judgment, she wanted to believe. She wanted to believe that this love could survive the storm, that it could thrive even amidst the luxury and scrutiny of Manhattan's elite. Later that afternoon, Alex found Emma in the mansion's library, quietly reading a book she had borrowed from the shelves. He approached her slowly, leaning against the doorway. "You look lost in thought," he said gently. Emma looked up, startled, then smiled faintly. "I'm thinking about all of this, about us, about how impossible it seems." Alex shook his head, stepping closer. "Nothing about us is impossible, not if we face it together. I don't care about the gossip, the judgment, the expectations. I care about you. And I'll keep showing you every day that my love isn't a fleeting moment, it's forever. Emma's heart thumped wildly. She had spent years working quietly, unnoticed, yet here was the billionaire heir, someone she had admired from afar, declaring not just love, but unwavering commitment. And for the first time, she allowed herself to imagine a future where love, not fear, dictated her path. The mansion staff watched from a distance, some in disbelief, some in awe. Even the usually stoic house manager whispered to the cook, "I never thought I'd see the day when the heir, the Alex Blackwood, would risk everything for someone like Emma." Meanwhile, in his office, Richard Blackwood was pacing, phone in hand, scanning the early morning social media posts. His eyes narrowed as he saw the memes, the headlines, the viral videos circulating across Manhattan. Billionaire heir proposes to Maid in Blackwood Mansion. His jaw tightened. This was no longer just a family matter. It had become a public spectacle. He clenched his fist, muttering under his breath, "This can't happen. Not in my lifetime. Not to my legacy." But across the mansion, Emma and Alex shared a quiet moment amidst the storm. Their hands remained intertwined, their eyes locked in mutual understanding. Despite the gossip, the whispers, the scrutiny, they had found each other, and in that small, fragile connection, the seed of something unbreakable had been planted. The sun dipped lower, casting shadows through the grand windows, signaling the arrival of evening. Yet within the mansion, a different kind of light glimmered the hope, courage, and quiet defiance of two hearts daring to challenge a world built on wealth, power, and expectations. Emma looked at Alex, her voice barely audible. I want to try. I don't know what's ahead, but I want to try with you." Alex's eyes softened, a smile breaking through his composed exterior. "Then we face it together. No matter what comes, Emma, together." And so, amidst the swirling gossip, the growing media storm, and the looming shadow of family expectations, a bond was solidifying, one that would challenge tradition, test courage, and redefine love in ways the Blackwood Mansion and the world outside could never have imagined. The Blackwood Mansion, with its towering glass windows and marble staircases, felt unusually heavy that evening. The grand halls, usually echoing with the laughter of opulent gatherings and casual chatter of staff, now carried a tense silence. The rumor of Alex's proposal to Emma had spread like wildfire, not only among the mansion staff, but throughout Manhattan's social elite. By evening, it had reached the boardroom, the gossip columns, and even the top social media accounts. Alex paced in his private study, the city lights of New York flickering against the floor-to-ceiling windows, reflecting in his deep, determined eyes. Emma sat nearby on the plush velvet sofa, her hands fidgeting in her lap. She had spent the day in a whirlwind of emotions. Pride at Alex's courage, fear of the social fallout, and anxiety about Richard Blackwood's reaction. The study doors flung open with a thunderous crack. Richard Blackwood stormed in, his tall frame casting a shadow that seemed to dominate the entire room. His dark eyes burned with fury, his tailored suit impeccable yet somehow more imposing under the tension of his wrath. "Alexander," Richard's voice was a storm. "I've had enough of this nonsense. Do you even realize the humiliation you've caused? Our investors, the board, the city's social elite, they're laughing at us. And for what? A maid?" Alex stood his ground, though his chest rose and fell with the intensity of his heartbeat. "Father, I do realize it. But I also realize that my happiness and Emma's cannot be measured by your expectations of wealth or status. She is extraordinary. She is worthy, and I will not apologize for loving her." Richard's eyes narrowed dangerously. "Worthy? Alexander, you have grown up in privilege, trained to lead an empire. You cannot just toss aside generations of tradition for a whim. Do you know what people are saying outside? What the media headlines are calling us?" Emma's throat tightened. She wanted to speak, to defend herself, but fear gripped her voice. She had always known the hierarchy of the mansion, the unspoken rules she had to follow. Yet Alex's declaration had thrown her into an unfamiliar storm. Sophia entered quietly, her delicate hands pressed together. She had always been a bridge between her husband's stern authority and her son's impulsive heart. "Richard," she said softly, "perhaps we should listen. Alexander has always been sincere, and Emma, she is brave, intelligent, and kind. We cannot judge a person solely by their social position." Richard's face softened for a fraction of a second, only for the fire in his eyes to return. "Sincerity doesn't erase reality, Sophia. Alexander, are you willing to jeopardize your career, your inheritance, and our family's reputation for this?" Alex took a slow, deliberate breath. "Yes, Father, I am. I will face whatever comes society's judgment, public ridicule, and even familial disappointment, because Emma is worth it. She's not just a maid. She is the woman I want to build my life with. And no empire, no fortune, no legacy is worth living without love." Emma felt her heart stir at his words. She realized that Alex's love was not just impulsive or superficial. It was steadfast, unwavering. And yet, she was terrified. Could she truly step into a world so foreign, so lavish, and so judgmental? Could she bear the constant scrutiny of the media, the mansion staff, and the elite society that would never accept her easily? Richard's hands tightened into fists at his sides. He took a deep breath, his face a storm of anger, pride, and reluctant concern. "And what about you, Emma? Are you ready to face a world that will not welcome you? A world that will judge every word you speak, every action you take?" Emma swallowed hard, her eyes meeting Alex's. She felt the warmth of his hand brush against hers, a silent promise that she wouldn't be alone. She thought of the life she had led so far. Years of quiet perseverance, invisible toil, and unspoken dreams. And now, the opportunity for love, though daunting, shone like a fragile light in her life. Emma began, her voice trembling but firm. "I want to try. I want to face it with him, but it's terrifying. Everything is so different, so huge. I don't know if I'm strong enough." Alex stepped forward, taking both her hands in his. "Emma, you are stronger than you think, and I will be with you every step of the way. We will face it together. I don't care what anyone else says, we define our own path." The tension in the room did not dissipate, but a small shift occurred. Sophia's eyes glimmered with hope, seeing her son's determination and Emma's courage. Richard, however, remained rigid, his mind torn between authority, family expectations, and an unfamiliar recognition of Emma's quiet strength. Just then, the mansion phone rang. The voice on the other end reported that the media had already caught wind of the proposal. Photographers had spotted the two in the garden, social media accounts had gone viral, and Manhattan gossip blogs were spreading the news like wildfire. Richard slammed his hand on the desk, the sound echoing through the study. "This is exactly what I feared. Our family's reputation, everything could be destroyed. Alexander, you have no idea what you've unleashed." Alex looked toward Emma, who met his gaze with courage despite her anxiety. He spoke softly, but firmly, for both Richard and Emma to hear. "Father, perhaps this is exactly what needed to be unleashed. A lesson that love is stronger than fear, stronger than reputation, stronger than control. Emma has faced hardships I could never imagine, and yet she stands here today, not broken, but courageous. I will not abandon her. I will not let tradition dictate my happiness." Emma felt a surge of admiration and affection for Alex. His words resonated deeply within her, reinforcing the bond that had begun to blossom between them. And even though the room was thick with tension, with Richard's disapproval and the looming storm of public attention, Emma realized something profound. Love could exist even amidst chaos, even amidst fear. Richard's lips pressed into a thin line. He wanted to argue, to resist, to command obedience. But something in Alex's voice, in Emma's quiet bravery made him pause. The fire of his anger remained, but beneath it, a flicker of reluctant acknowledgement. Perhaps there was more to Emma than the title of Maid suggested. Sophia, sensing the shift, moved closer to Emma and Alex, placing a comforting hand on Emma's shoulder. "Courage," she whispered softly. "Sometimes courage is all that matters." As the evening shadows lengthened across the study, Emma felt a tiny spark of hope. Perhaps, just perhaps, she could step into this new world alongside Alex, facing judgment, scrutiny, and fear without losing herself. And in that moment, the first threads of an unbreakable bond wove between them, defying tradition, societal expectations, and even the formidable authority of the Blackwood family. The night had fallen over Manhattan, painting the city in sparkling lights that mirrored the stars above. The Blackwood mansion sat elegantly amidst the bustling streets, its grand windows glowing warmly against the chill of the evening. Yet inside, the mansion was a battleground of emotions, fear, love, pride, and uncertainty coexisted like storm clouds ready to burst. Emma sat alone on the terrace, the crisp night air brushing against her cheeks. Her hands rested nervously on her lap, fingers entwined as she gazed at the city below. The distant hum of traffic and occasional honk of a taxi reminded her that life outside the mansion continued unbothered, unaware of the drama unfolding behind these gilded walls. She felt a strange mixture of fear and longing, a fear of stepping into a world that had always seemed untouchable, and a longing for a love that had suddenly illuminated her life. "Emma." A familiar voice broke through her thoughts. Alex stepped onto the terrace, the soft lights catching in his hair, making him look almost surreal against the backdrop of the glowing city. He left his suit jacket behind, sleeves rolled up slightly, a small, determined smile playing on his lips. "Mind if I join you?" Emma looked up, startled, her heart thudding in her chest. She nodded slowly. I don't know what to say, Alex. Everything is overwhelming." Alex sat beside her, close enough that she could feel the warmth radiating from him. "I know," he said softly. "I know it's frightening. Believe me, it's frightening for me too. I've never faced a situation like this, and I never imagined I'd be risking everything for love." Emma's eyes filled with tears, not just from fear, but from the intensity of the emotions swirling inside her. I spent my whole life being invisible," she whispered. "Working quietly, surviving, staying unnoticed. And now everyone knows. Everyone is judging me. I don't know if I can live up to everything this means." And backed, Alex took her hands gently in his. "Emma, look at me," he said, his voice unwavering. She obeyed, her gaze locking with his. "You are not invisible to me. You never have been, and you never will be. I see you, all of you, your strength, your courage, your heart. That's what matters. Not what the world thinks, not what anyone else says, only you and I together." Emma swallowed hard, her chest tight with emotion. "But what about your father? What about the family, the empire? Everything I've been taught to believe about social class, about where people belong." Her voice broke slightly, the weight of centuries of unspoken rules pressing down on her. Alex's gaze softened, but his determination never wavered. "I've thought about all of that, Emma, every day, and I've realized that none of it matters if we're not happy. My father, my family, our reputation, it's all secondary to the truth of our hearts. And my truth is that I want to be with you, only you." For the first time, Emma allowed herself to truly feel his words. She remembered the late nights they had spent talking quietly, the small moments of laughter amidst the mansion's rigid hierarchy, the way he had protected her, supported her, and seen her as more than a maid. She felt the stirrings of hope that had been buried beneath years of doubt and insecurity. "But Alex," she whispered, tears spilling down her cheeks, "it's not just fear. It's everything. My life has been simple, limited. Yours so vast, so different. I don't know if I can fit into that world. Alex pulled her gently into an embrace, the city lights shimmering behind them. Emma, you don't have to fit into anyone's world. You belong wherever we are together. I want to share my world with you, yes, but I don't want you to change who you are. Your world, your values, your strength. That's what I love. That's what drew me to you in the first place. Emma rested her head against his shoulder, feeling the steady beat of his heart. The warmth of his embrace, the sincerity in his voice, and the unwavering depth of his gaze wrapped around her like a protective shield. For the first time in her life, she felt that she could truly belong somewhere, someone's heart, someone's life, without losing herself. Minutes passed in silence, the city humming below them as the two of them simply existed together in that fragile bubble of connection. Emma's tears slowly transformed from fear to relief, from hesitation to courage. She lifted her head, meeting Alex's eyes once more. I want to try, she said softly, but with newfound conviction. I want to face everything, as long as it's with you. Alex's smile broke fully now, a mixture of triumph, relief, and deep emotion. That's all I needed to hear, he whispered, brushing a stray tear from her cheek. We'll face it all together, Emma. No one and nothing can come between us. Just then, a shadow fell across the terrace. The unmistakable silhouette of Richard Blackwood, watching from the doorway, his expression unreadable. Emma stiffened, fear and anxiety rising once more. Alex noticed immediately, his grip tightening gently around her hands. Richard stepped forward, his eyes narrowing as he surveyed the two. So this is it, he said, his voice calm yet laced with steel. You've decided. Together. Alex nodded, standing tall. Yes, Father. We've decided. And we're not backing down. Emma's heart raced. The challenge of winning over the formidable CEO still lay ahead. But at that moment, she felt something stronger than fear, determination. For the first time, she realized that love could not only survive, but thrive, even in a world that seemed stacked against her. Richard's eyes lingered on her, assessing, calculating. His lips pressed into a thin line, as if weighing the impossible. The mansion held its breath, the city lights reflecting off the terrace, as if waiting for his verdict. Emma met Richard's gaze, unwavering now. She had made her choice, and she would face whatever came, supported by the man who had ignited courage and hope within her. Alex's hand found hers once again, a silent promise, a bond unbroken by fear or expectation. And in that fragile, powerful moment, the foundation of a love that could challenge the world was cemented one heartbeat, one promise, and one confession at a time. The morning in Manhattan had arrived, with the usual city clamor taxis honking, subway trains rumbling beneath the streets, and skyscrapers gleaming under the pale sunlight. But within the walls of the Blackwood mansion, the atmosphere was anything but ordinary. Overnight, the garden proposal had become headline news, splashed across social media, tabloids, and celebrity gossip blogs. The words, "Billionaire heir proposes to Maid," trended across the city, igniting a frenzy of speculation, judgment, and curiosity. Emma sat at the mansion's breakfast table, nervously stirring her coffee. The staff moved around in hushed whispers, their expressions a mix of sympathy and fascination. Even the usually stoic butler glanced her way with a raised brow, as if silently asking how she could possibly navigate this storm. Alex entered the room, tying his tie with calm determination, though the shadows under his eyes betrayed sleepless nights. He spotted Emma and walked over, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Don't read the headlines," he whispered, his voice firm yet gentle. "They don't know anything about us." Emma forced a small smile, but her heart raced. "Alex, I've seen them. The tabloids, the blogs, even the gossip pages of social media. People are saying horrible things, judging me, judging us. How do we face this?" Alex leaned down, his forehead resting lightly against hers. "Together, no matter what. The world can talk, The media can speculate, and the mansion staff can gossip, but they cannot touch what we have. Our love is ours, Emma. Nothing else matters. Their moment was interrupted by the sudden ring of the mansion's phone. The butler answered and spoke quietly, then handed the receiver to Richard Blackwood, whose expression was stormy beyond measure. Alex. Richard's voice was sharp, tight with anger. It's happening. The social media feeds, the tabloids, they're relentless. Everyone from Manhattan's elite to international business circles is commenting. Investors are worried. Friends of the family are calling. Your proposal is no longer private, it's a spectacle. Alex didn't flinch. I know, Father, and I expected it would be. But this doesn't change anything. Emma and I, we're in this together. The world can say whatever it wants, but I won't back down. Richard ran a hand through his hair, pacing the room. You have no idea what this could do to our family's reputation. The board is asking questions. The investors are uneasy. Even the charity events we sponsor our image is being tarnished before they even arrive. Emma felt a wave of guilt and fear, the weight of responsibility pressing down on her shoulders. She had never imagined that her simple life could intersect with the whirlwind of media scrutiny and high society expectations. Alex, maybe this is too much. Maybe we should slow down, think about the consequences, she said softly. Alex turned toward her, his eyes blazing with determination. Emma, listen to me. Nothing is too much when it comes to love. We will face the gossip, the judgment, the scrutiny. We will face it all together. And the truth is, I don't care about their opinions. What matters is what we know, what we feel, and I love you. That is what matters. Across Manhattan, the news of the proposal had caused a ripple effect. Social media feeds were flooded with comments, some praising the boldness of the heir, others mocking the impossible romance. The paparazzi staked out the mansion, hoping to catch a glimpse of the pair, while online trolls speculated endlessly about Emma's background and her supposed intentions. Inside the mansion, the staff tried to maintain normalcy, but the tension was palpable. Housekeepers whispered nervously, gardeners exchanged uneasy glances, and the kitchen staff kept stealing peeks at the grand dining hall, wondering what the morning conversation would bring. Even the mansion's security team was on high alert, anticipating potential media intrusion. Sophia Blackwood, ever the voice of calm amidst chaos, entered the room with a tray of fresh fruit. She placed it gently on the table and looked at Emma. Don't let them shake you, she said softly. People will always talk, especially about things they don't understand. What matters is your heart and Alex's heart. That is stronger than any rumor or headline. Emma nodded, taking a deep breath. I've never had this kind of attention before. It's terrifying, Sophia. I feel like a target. Everyone is watching, judging. I don't know if I can handle it. Sophia reached across, squeezing Emma's hand reassuringly. You are stronger than you realize. And remember, you're not alone. Alex is with you, and he will protect you. You've already shown courage. Don't let fear take that from you now. Alex, hearing the conversation, moved to Emma's side. He wrapped an arm around her shoulders. See? You're not facing this alone, and will prove to everyone your strength, my love, our truth can withstand anything. Manhattan may be full of judgment, but we define our own story. Just then, a mansion assistant hurried in, breathless. Sir, the press is outside. Cameras, drones, reporters, they're all waiting for a statement. And the headlines are spreading even faster online. Richard's hands clenched into fists. I warned you, Alexander. I warned you this would happen. Look at the chaos. Look at what you've unleashed. Alex took a step forward, his gaze unwavering. Father, this isn't chaos. This is reality. Love doesn't follow rules, doesn't fit into boxes, and doesn't care about social hierarchies. Emma has faced more challenges than you could imagine, and she did so with courage. That courage is worth more than all the headlines and gossip. I will face the media, the scrutiny, and the judgment if it means being with her. Emma's heart swelled with admiration. Despite the fear, the relentless pressure, and the looming public exposure, Alex's conviction gave her strength. She realized that together they could withstand the storm, and perhaps even redefine what love meant in a world obsessed with status and appearances. The sun climbed higher, casting sharp beams across the grand halls of the mansion, but inside, Emma felt a quiet warmth. For the first time, she allowed herself to believe not in the headlines, not in society's opinion, but in the promise of a love that could survive scrutiny, gossip, and public spectacle. And so, amidst the flashing cameras, buzzing drones, and relentless media attention, a quiet determination grew between Alex and Emma, a vow that no rumor, no social expectation, and no external pressure could break. The mansion may have been under siege from gossip and paparazzi, but inside, two hearts beat as one, stronger, braver, and more united than ever before. The afternoon sun burned high over Manhattan, but inside the Blackwood mansion, the air was thick with tension, like a storm waiting to break. The mansion staff moved cautiously, exchanging nervous glances, aware that the entire household was on edge. Every whisper, every footstep seemed amplified in the vast halls. The events of the past week, the scandalous proposal, the viral headlines, and the relentless media attention had pushed the household into a state of quiet chaos. Alex strode into the grand drawing room, his navy blue suit impeccable, but his eyes blazing with determination. In his hand, he carried a carefully folded statement, one he intended to release to the media, declaring his unwavering love for Emma and his refusal to bow to societal judgment. Emma followed quietly, her heart pounding. The thought of public scrutiny terrified her, yet the resolve in Alex's eyes inspired her courage. She realized that love required bravery, and that sometimes standing together meant facing the world without fear. Richard Blackwood, seated at the massive mahogany desk in the center of the room, had already been alerted to Alex's intentions. His dark eyes narrowed as he observed his son approach, his entire body radiating controlled fury. "Alexander," Richard said, his voice tight with restrained anger, "what exactly do you think you are doing? You can't just parade your private affairs for the world to see. Our reputation, our legacy is at stake." Alex squared his shoulders, his gaze unwavering. "Father, my love for Emma is not a private affair. It's my truth, and I refuse to hide it. The world can judge, gossip, and speculate, but I will not deny my heart. Emma and I, we are together. And I will defend her, publicly and privately, against anyone who doubts her worth." Richard's jaw tightened. He stood abruptly, the sound of his polished shoes echoing through the drawing room. "Defend her? Alexander, do you understand what you are doing? You are risking everything. The board, investors, society, and the very legacy we built. Your recklessness will be remembered as folly." Emma's hands trembled, but Alex's steady grip reassured her. "Father," Alex continued, his voice calm but firm, "Emma has faced hardships you could never imagine. She has survived, endured, and thrived. And yet, she stands before me, not broken, but courageous. Her strength, her heart, is worth more than all the wealth, power, and reputation in the world. I will not abandon her." Richard's eyes blazed. "You are naive, Alexander. This is not just about love. This is about control, influence, perception. You can't simply defy generations of tradition and expect no consequences." Alex stepped closer to his father, meeting his fury with unshakable resolve. "I understand the consequences. I am ready to face them. But what I refuse to do is live a life without honesty, without love, without Emma. She is my choice, my life, and my future." Across the room, the mansion staff watched with bated breath. Housekeepers whispered, gardeners peered around corners, and even the usually stoic butler felt a stir of admiration. The walls of the mansion, which had always symbolized order, hierarchy, and unspoken social codes seemed to tremble with the intensity of the confrontation. Sophia Blackwood, standing quietly to the side, placed a hand gently on Richard's arm. "Richard," she said softly, "perhaps it's time to see Emma for who she truly is, not just her station. Alexander's love is sincere, and Emma, she is courageous and honorable. We cannot measure her worth by social class." Richard's eyes flickered, a momentary hesitation betraying the storm beneath. But the fire of anger remained, fueled by years of control and tradition. "Courage and honor do not erase the social implications, Sophia. Alexander, you are tearing this family apart. You will not only face public humiliation, but you will destabilize the empire." Emma stepped forward, her voice trembling but firm. "Sir," she said, looking Richard directly in the eye, "I know I'm not part of your world. I know I come from nothing, but I love Alex. And I will stand by him, face whatever comes, and prove that love is stronger than fear, rumor, or expectation. I may be a maid, but I am not weak." The room fell into tense silence. Even Richard's own words seemed to hang in the air, powerless against the sincerity and bravery emanating from Emma. Alex moved beside her, gently taking her hand. "Father," he said, his voice unwavering, "Emma is everything I could ever hope for. I will face the world with her. I will not hide her, and I will not let anyone, even you, stand in the way of what is right." Richard's face darkened further, his fists clenching involuntarily. For a moment, it seemed as if the mansion itself was holding its breath. The tension was so thick that even the ticking of the grand clock on the wall sounded like a drumbeat of impending conflict. Meanwhile, whispers of the confrontation had begun to spread among the mansion staff. Some expressed quiet admiration for Emma's courage. Others questioned the wisdom of challenging the Blackwood legacy so openly. The gossip reached social circles beyond the mansion. Friends, business associates, and elite neighbors were now buzzing with rumors, eager for details of the scandalous drama unfolding behind the mansion's doors. Alex's gaze never wavered from Emma. "We are ready, Emma," he said softly, as much to reassure her as to affirm his own determination. "Let the world watch. Let them judge. We know the truth, and we have each other. That is what matters." Emma swallowed hard, a mixture of fear and exhilaration coursing through her veins. "Yes," she whispered, "we'll face it together." Richard took a slow, deliberate breath, his mind racing. He could see the resolve in Alex's eyes, the courage in Emma's posture, and the ripple of support from Sophia. The CEO knew this battle was far from over, his authority challenged, his legacy questioned, and his son unwavering, but for the first time, he realized that love, raw and defiant, could not be easily suppressed. The Manhattan skyline glimmered beyond the mansion's grand windows, oblivious to the storm brewing inside. Yet inside the walls of the Blackwood mansion, two hearts had united against the world, undaunted by tradition, society, or judgment. And a powerful declaration had been made. No force, however formidable, could break the bond between Alex and Emma. And as the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows through the mansion halls, Richard Blackwood understood that the days ahead would be a war not just of family, but of society, reputation, and hearts. And he would have to decide, fight against love, or accept the truth that had already taken root. The morning light in Manhattan glinted off the glass towers, casting reflections across the streets, bustling with traffic, pedestrians, and the ever-present hum of city life. But in the Blackwood mansion, the air was thick with tension, a tangible weight pressing down on every marble corridor and polished surface. Overnight, the story of Alex's proposal to Emma had exploded into a media storm that no one could ignore. News crews from the city's major networks had arrived, parked their vans along the mansion's private drive, and began broadcasting live updates. Social media was ablaze. Hashtags like Billionaire Air Love Story, Alex and Emma, and Mansion Romance trended worldwide. Online commentators dissected every detail: the garden proposal, the viral photos, Emma's background, and Alex's unwavering stance. Inside the mansion, the staff moved like shadows, anxious and cautious. Emma sat quietly in the drawing room, her hands fidgeting in her lap, the polished floor reflecting her uneasy posture. The whispers of the staff, previously hushed, now carried a mixture of awe and worry. Some admired her courage, others doubted whether she could truly withstand the glare of public scrutiny. Alex entered the room, his suit immaculate, hair slightly tousled, eyes burning with determination. He knelt beside Emma, gently lifting her hand. "Emma," he whispered, "I know this is overwhelming, but I need you to trust me. We've faced everything together so far now. The world is just watching. Let them. We know the truth. That's all that matters." Emma took a shaky breath, trying to steady herself. I know, Alex, but I've never been in the spotlight like this. Everyone's watching. The cameras, the social media. It's terrifying. What if I can't handle it?" Alex smiled softly, brushing a stray strand of hair from her face. "Then I'll be here. I'll face it with you. Every headline, every rumor, every judgment, they won't touch us as long as we stand together." Just then, the mansion doors swung open with a commanding force. Richard Blackwood entered his tailored suit as dark as his mood. His eyes, sharp and calculating, scanned the room. The calm that Alex had tried to project faltered under the weight of his father's presence. "Alexander," Richard began, his voice cold and decisive, "this has gone far enough. The media storm, the tabloids, the gossip, it's spiraling out of control. Investors are calling. Board members are questioning my judgment. And now, you, my son, stand here, flaunting this relationship like some public spectacle?" Alex stood, meeting his father's glare without fear. "Father, it's not a spectacle. It's the truth. Emma is the woman I love, and I will not hide it. I will not let societal expectations or fear dictate my heart." Richard's jaw tightened. "Alexander, you're leaving me no choice. You have until the end of this week to end this relationship. You will distance yourself from her immediately, or I will take steps to ensure your engagement to Emma is impossible socially, legally, and financially." Emma's breath caught. The ultimatum was clear. Her entire world, the fragile bond she had begun to build with Alex, hung in the balance. Fear gripped her chest like a vice. She had never felt so powerless, yet so connected to someone who gave her courage. Alex's eyes narrowed, his determination unshaken. "Father, I will not abandon Emma. We will face whatever consequences you impose. But love cannot be erased by threats or ultimatums. Emma is my choice, and I stand by her." Richard's expression hardened, and he took a deep breath, the tension in his body radiating authority. "Then prepare yourself, Alexander. You are about to learn the weight of defiance." The room fell silent for a long moment. Emma's fingers trembled as she held Alex's hand, finding strength in his unwavering resolve. Despite the looming ultimatum, she felt a surge of courage. Together, they had faced family disapproval, gossip, and media scrutiny. Now, they were on the brink of something greater, a challenge that would test their love against the full force of Manhattan's high society. Sophia, standing quietly at the side, placed a reassuring hand on Emma's shoulder. "Courage," she whispered. "You and Alex have each other. That bond is stronger than any threat or ultimatum." Emma nodded slowly, her chest rising with determination. I will face it," she said, her voice steadying. "With him." Alex smiled, squeezing her hand. "That's all I needed to hear. No matter what comes, we face it together, united." Meanwhile, outside, the media had begun to pick up on the mansion's palpable tension. Cameras captured glimpses of Emma and Alex, their hands entwined, standing strong amidst the looming storm. Social media exploded with commentary, speculation, and admiration. The world was watching, but for Alex and Emma, the world could wait. The sun dipped lower, casting long, dramatic shadows across the mansion halls, as if the city itself recognized the gravity of what was unfolding. Richard Blackwood, though still fuming, sensed the immovable determination in his son and the quiet strength in Emma. The battle lines were drawn not just between father and son, but between love and legacy, courage and convention, truth and societal expectation. And in that charged, fragile moment, Alex and Emma realized the full weight of their decision. They were no longer just facing whispers and gossip. They were confronting the powerful forces of wealth, reputation, and authority. Yet, in each other's eyes, they found hope, courage, and a bond unbreakable by fear, scandal, or Manhattan's unforgiving social spotlight. The evening skyline of Manhattan glimmered like a sea of stars, the city alive with its usual hum of taxis, honking horns, and distant chatter. But tonight, the Blackwood mansion and the world watching held its breath. The social event Alex's father had meticulously planned, a charity gala hosting New York's elite, had transformed into a battlefield of appearances, expectations, and raw emotion. Inside the grand ballroom, crystal chandeliers cast glimmering reflections across the marble floors. Guests in designer gowns and tailored suits mingled, champagne glasses clinking as whispers of Alex's scandalous proposal circulated faster than any hors d'oeuvre. Tabloid photographers hovered at the edges of the ballroom, cameras ready to capture the slightest misstep, the faintest hint of defiance. Emma, standing nervously near the grand staircase, adjusted her elegant yet simple evening gown, a soft navy silk that complemented her complexion, chosen carefully to balance grace with understated confidence. Her hands trembled slightly as she clutched her small clutch, heart racing. For the first time in her life, she was stepping into a world she had only glimpsed from afar, a world of wealth, privilege, and unspoken rules. Alex appeared beside her, placing a reassuring hand on her lower back. His tailored black suit hugged his frame perfectly, a crisp white shirt beneath, tie impeccably knotted. His eyes, however, were not on the crowd, they were on Emma. "Tonight," he whispered softly, "we show them that love cannot be silenced, that we are stronger than fear, gossip, and expectation. Just trust me." Emma nodded, drawing courage from the steady confidence in his gaze. Together, they stepped forward, moving through the crowd that now watched with anticipation, curiosity, and judgment. Whispers surged like an invisible tide. "There she is," one socialite murmured. "The maid, standing with the heir." Another voice scoffed. "Is this some publicity stunt? It can't be real." Richard Blackwood, observing from the top of the grand staircase, felt his pulse quicken. His son, standing proudly with a woman of humble origins, was about to confront society's judgment and, by extension, Richard's authority. He had given Alex the ultimatum just days ago: end the relationship or face ruin. And yet, Alex had openly defied him. A hush fell over the ballroom as Alex and Emma reached the center, the entire assembly of Manhattan's elite fixated on the pair. The gala's host, sensing the tension, gestured for a toast, though the usual cheer was replaced by quiet murmurs. Alex cleared his throat, the weight of expectation pressing against his shoulders, yet his voice rang with unwavering conviction. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his tone calm but commanding, "I know there has been much talk, speculation, and judgment regarding my personal life. But tonight, I stand here not to explain, defend, or justify. I stand here to declare a simple truth. I love Emma. She is brave, kind, and extraordinary. And I will not hide, deny, or diminish that love because of social expectation, gossip, or judgment." A stunned silence followed, broken only by the soft clinking of glasses and the faint murmur of disbelief. Emma's breath caught, her heart pounding. She looked at Alex, eyes wide, a mixture of fear and awe, and realized that the man beside her could not be swayed. One of the gala's prominent socialites stepped forward, lips pursed. "Are you seriously defying your father and the entire city for her?" Alex's gaze did not waver. "Yes," he said simply, his tone firm, carrying both defiance and pride. Love is not bound by status. Courage is not dictated by social class. And respect is earned by the heart, not inherited wealth. Emma felt a rush of warmth and empowerment. She stepped forward beside him, voice shaking but growing stronger. "I am Emma," she said, "and I love Alexander. I will face whatever comes with him. I am not defined by my past, my station, or anyone's judgment. I am proud of who I am and proud to stand with him." Gasps rippled through the ballroom. Cameras flashed. Social media exploded in real-time updates. Tabloids would later call it the most audacious public declaration in Manhattan's elite history. The whispers of gossip transformed into murmurs of respect, curiosity, and even admiration. From the staircase, Richard Blackwood's expression darkened. His son had not only defied him privately, but had made the defiance public, challenging the very hierarchy he had built and nurtured. Yet beneath the fury, a flicker of reluctant acknowledgement appeared. He saw the determination in Alex's eyes, the courage in Emma's stance, and the undeniable chemistry and respect between them. Sophia, standing beside her husband, placed a hand gently on his arm. "Richard," she whispered, "look at them. This is love. They are unafraid, united, and genuine. Perhaps we need to see that strength instead of fearing it." Richard's jaw tightened, the room thick with tension. The battle lines were drawn not just between father and son, but between tradition and love, expectation and truth. Every eye in the ballroom watched, every socialite and guest holding their breath. Emma's hand found Alex's. "We did it," she whispered, a mixture of triumph and relief. "Together." Alex squeezed her hand gently. "Yes, together. No matter what comes next, this moment is ours. We've faced the world, and we've chosen each other." The night stretched on, the gala continuing amidst murmurs, applause, and the occasional hesitant cheer. Yet inside, Alex and Emma knew that the true victory was not in the public acknowledgement, but in their unwavering commitment to one another. They had faced society, defied expectations, and stood proudly as equals, united in love. Richard Blackwood remained silent, his thoughts a storm of anger, pride, and disbelief. He would not yet concede, but deep down, he understood that the bond between Alex and Emma had grown too powerful to ignore or to destroy. As the chandeliers cast sparkling light across the ballroom, the couple stood hand in hand, ready to face whatever the future would bring, knowing that their love tested, public, and unyielding could not be broken. The first light of morning filtered through the towering windows of the Blackwood mansion, casting a soft glow across the grand halls. Manhattan had already woken to another day of bustling streets, taxis, and the never-ending rhythm of city life, but inside the mansion, a rare sense of calm lingered. The storm of media frenzy, gossip, and family tension had reached a critical peak the night before, leaving the household in a state of quiet anticipation for what was to come. Emma sat in the drawing room, sunlight reflecting off her soft navy gown from the gala. She looked out the window at the city below, her mind replaying the events of the past week. From Alex's bold proposal in the garden, to the viral headlines, to the tension-filled ballroom declaration, her life had shifted in ways she could never have imagined. The fear and uncertainty of the past had been replaced by a deep, unwavering resolve. Alex entered the room, a broad smile on his face, his tailored suit now replaced with a more relaxed ensemble, dark jeans, and a crisp white shirt, sleeves rolled up. He approached Emma, kneeling before her and taking her hands gently. "Good morning," he said, voice soft yet filled with warmth. "Last night, you were amazing. You stood beside me, and together we faced the world. I couldn't be prouder." Emma's lips curved into a small, genuine smile. "I was scared," she admitted. "Terrified, actually. But with you, I felt brave. I felt like I could handle anything." Alex lifted her hands to his lips, pressing a tender kiss to her knuckles. "That's how I feel with you too, Emma." You make me stronger, braver, more human. And I promise we'll face everything together from this moment onward. No secrets, no fears, just us. Just then, the door opened, and Richard Blackwood entered. His expression was unreadable, but his steps were measured, deliberate. Emma and Alex stood, hands still entwined, hearts racing. The tension that had gripped the mansion for days returned in a subtle electric hum. "Alexander," Richard began, voice calm but firm. "Emma, I have watched the past week unfold. I have seen your courage, your determination, and the strength of your love. And I have seen Alex's unwavering commitment to you." Emma's heart skipped a beat. She held her breath, unsure if this moment would bring reconciliation or further conflict. Richard continued, his gaze softening slightly. "Emma, you come from a world very different from mine, a world I never understood. But it is clear that you have the heart, courage, and integrity to stand beside my son, not as a maid, not as an outsider, but as a partner, equal in strength and spirit. Alexander, you have chosen wisely. I will accept it. Not immediately, perhaps, but I will try." Alex exhaled slowly, relief washing over him. He squeezed Emma's hand, eyes glinting with emotion. "Thank you, Father," he said sincerely. "That means more than you can imagine." Richard took a step closer, placing a hand on Emma's shoulder, a gesture of reluctant acceptance and acknowledgement. "Emma, welcome to the Blackwood family. I hope you understand the challenges you will face, the scrutiny, and the expectations. But know this, if you truly love my son, and if he loves you as fiercely as he claims, you will endure and thrive." "Right, white one." Emma's eyes welled with tears, her voice trembling but steady. I understand, sir, and I love him more than anything. I promise to stand by him, and together we will face whatever comes." Sophia Blackwood entered next, a warm smile on her face. She enveloped both Alex and Emma in a gentle embrace. "Finally," she whispered, "the family can breathe. Love has won, courage has prevailed, and a new chapter begins." Outside, the world continued its relentless pace, but the mansion felt like an oasis of calm, hope, and resolution. The media frenzy would eventually settle, the gossip would fade, and the social elite would adjust to the new reality. But inside, Alex and Emma's love had been solidified through courage, defiance, and unwavering commitment. Alex pulled Emma close, resting his forehead against hers. "Are you ready?" he asked softly. Emma smiled through her tears, the sunlight dancing in her eyes. "Ready for what?" "To live our lives, to love freely, to face everything together," he whispered. Emma nodded, feeling an overwhelming sense of belonging, strength, and peace. Yes, together. The mansion, once tense and oppressive with expectation and judgment, now felt alive with hope. Family ties had been tested, love had been challenged, and societal scrutiny had loomed large, but ultimately, courage, determination, and the power of true love had prevailed. And in that moment, as Manhattan's skyline glittered beyond the towering windows, Alex and Emma shared a quiet, profound understanding. No challenge, no fear, no expectation. None of it could ever break the bond they had forged. They were partners, lovers, and equals, ready to face the world hand in hand. The sun rose higher, casting golden light over the mansion, illuminating a family reconciled, a love validated, and a new chapter begun, one built on trust, bravery, and the unshakable certainty that together, Alex and Emma could conquer anything.